Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. My name's Bill Allen. I'm sitting in for Winston Chester this morning, who's taking a break. And today is September the 4th. September. Can't believe we're already here. There's a lot of things going on, you know, from here on out with hunting season coming in and things like that. So we want to get right to the weather report brought to us by Haney Technical Center, 767-5500. The high today temperature is going to be 86 with a low of 75, wind west-southwest about 8 miles an hour, and a 30% chance of rain. So we're back into that summertime forecast. Pretty much the same every day. High tides at midnight with the low at 9:01 a.m. this morning. We want to take a look over here at our Carl Vernon tide chart for September the 4th, and you see we don't have a whole lot of movement, but coming into the weekend and first part of next week, we're going to be into some real nice tides. So we need to get ready and prepared to go out and take advantage of some of that. Apalachicola River is about 1 foot. It's flat. We had a little bump over the weekend, but it's coming back down now. So, you know, again, if you're running around over there, be careful. There's a lot of stuff sticking up, and it's getting kind of dangerous. Although the fly fishing is pretty good over there. I've gotten a lot of good reports of the fish starting to turn on a little bit with this, with the way this water is, the temperature. So, and Choctaw, it's about 2.5 feet and falling. You know, it swelled up to, I think, 6.5, 7 feet, but it's coming on down now. There's some great catfish holes over there when you've got a good, strong falling tide. So that's something to think about, too. I got a special guest this morning. We'll be back in just a minute. We're gonna talk to Captain Justin Lee.
Harold Milling Company, rough and tough dog food. Harold Milling Company builds it. They build hog feed. They build dairy feed. They make chicken feed. They have specialty feeds for rabbits. If you got a worm farm, grandmother used to have a worm farm. Look at the Harold Milling Company. You want to go down and get you, the dog's not running anymore. That's all over with. You want to get that 16% and drop down from the 26% protein. You don't want over to get fat. Harold Milling Company, you can buy at almost any feed store in the Panama City area.
My name's Captain Rick Corley. I'm a SAMS accredited Marine Surveyor, NAM certified Marine Surveyor, and IAME certified Marine Investigator. Been surveying since 1969. Was taught by my father, who is the oldest, longest practicing Marine Surveyor in the world. We do all types of survey, commercial or pleasure. Steel, aluminum, fiberglass, wood, makes no difference. Give us a call at 850-527-5287 or visit us online. We'd appreciate your business.
When you want to get the job done, you want a powerhouse of engineering, reliability, and value. You want a Kubota. And right now, during our 40-year-strong celebration, get 0 down and 0% APR for up to 48 months on Kubota utility vehicles, like the climate-controlled RTV 1100 or the affordable compact RTV 400. Join the Kubota movement, 40 years strong, serving the American dream.
See and save on all Kubota tractors and equipment at Soul Tractor today.
We are so lucky to live in North Florida. We have some of the best fresh and saltwater fishing in the world. My biggest problem is not catching fish, but trying to decide what kind of fish I want to catch. No matter what I'm after, I always stop at Sunjammers Water Sports first. They have just what I need: rods and reels, line, tackle, and most important, live bait. Yes, sir, we sure are lucky.
Welcome back, folks. Today I'm here with Captain Justin Lee, my buddy here, who is spending a lot of time on this bay. That's how he makes his living now. And you know, I've gotten a lot of good feedback from you guys on, you know, when I do a segment, when we talk about, you know, I had Matt on one time, and we're talking about, you know, the conditions and what you can do right now to catch fish or try to catch fish with these conditions. And so we're going to do the same thing today. You know, up until, what was it, Tropical Storm Debbie?
Yeah.
I mean, we were all complaining, not really complaining, but the water was just gin clear,
yeah.
You know, and we were catching fish like they're going out of style. It is not that situation now.
It has not been for a long time.
It is not. I mean, that water is coffee color.
It is, and it's not just in the bay. It goes on out into the Gulf until recent. I mean, I was out there right before this storm hit, and out to 8 miles, it was still that dark coffee color water.
Man, see, that's something I wasn't really aware of because, you know, I spend all my time in the short water anymore. But so, you know, if I called up now and I said, hey, Justin, I want a trip.
Sure.
What are we going to do?
2 options would be if we go in the Gulf, we're probably going to run beyond that 8 mile, not necessarily offshore. That's another thing that people always think when we're talking about, you know, running offshore, that we're talking about how far offshore we're going.
Right.
You don't necessarily have to run that far. You can run east or west the same distance and get away from our pass, which is where all that dirty water is coming out of.
Yeah.
So you could be 1 or 2 miles off the beach and be in crystal clear water if you get away from that pass.
Yeah, if you're in the right spot. So
yeah, so getting beyond that dirty water into some clear, clean water is a good option out there. Now in the bay, we don't have that option. So in that dirty water, there still is some bait in the bay. It's definitely not as plentiful as it was before all the rain and wind and all that. But there still is some bait that we can catch and fish live baits. And the trout fishing's actually picked up. Has been pretty good. Giant Spanish mackerel. We're still seeing Spanish mackerel in the bay bigger than we've ever seen. And, you know, that's a lot of fun.
well, this time of year, the ones that are left are
they are.
They're huge.
They are. And it was odd. We started off this year with big Spanish. And, you know, we had obviously the new Spanish that showed up that were their regular, smaller size. But we started, I guess, because we had such a mild winter, a lot of them didn't leave.
Yeah.
So we started off with a lot of big Spanish, and now they are giant. I mean, there are some sure enough giants in the bay.
You know, and if you can hang on to one of those with a fly rod,
oh
you can
yeah,
have just all the fun that you want to have.
It sure is.
I mean, I don't care anything about eating Spanish, but I sure love to catch them on a fly rod.
You're right about that. They're a lot of fun to catch. There's not much in the bay that will pull dry, even a big redfish. You know, I love fly fishing for reds.
Sure.
But they will, you know, they're more of a hard nose, good pull, but they don't have that line screaming capability that a Spanish does. You know.
Now, when you're looking for that clear water, when you're running off, I mean, what are you targeting out there?
Right now, we're targeting mostly amberjacks and king mackerel.
Okay.
If somebody wants something to keep, you know, it doesn't take but one amberjack a person and a king mackerel can fill up a fish box real quick.
That's true. And both, especially amberjack, will give you just all you want.
Oh yeah, yeah. And a matter of fact, we make it fun. We catch them with artificials and stuff also. You know, it's not your normal firing live baits down to the bottom kind of fishing. You know, we make it. You know, I mean, we keep one a person, so it's not like we're trying to load the boat down with them. So we go out there and have a real good time catching them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, you just have to make adjustments. I mean, this is an extremely tough bay to try to fish in right now.
Sure.
But I have gotten some of those reports. I've talked to some of these guys, like on Tuesday when the water got so high.
Yeah.
What bait was that is in the bay got pushed up into some of those canals, and a couple of these guys were telling me that, you know, the trout were just corralling them at the end of these canals and wearing them out. We even had some guys walking down there on the dock and throwing,
I don't blame them.
Just for something to do because they were in there. So, you know, there is some bait out there. I mean, but man, and you still finding, you know, I mean, it's just, it's hard to go out there to try to find something that works. And so when I have been in the bay, you know, I've just thrown everything in the box.
Yeah.
You know, in other words, trying to get some flash in the water, you know, with a spoon.
Sure, yeah. It's definitely not a time to be very subtle with the presentation.
No,
no. Like you were saying, spoons are great. And topwater plugs are great. The only downfall to that is all the floating grass right now. And generally late in the summer, we'll have all that floating grass. Yeah. But I tell you what, there's a lot of good soft plastics that you can rig weedless and fish like a topwater that is a good alternative right now.
Do you subscribe to the match the water?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in clear water, I'm going to fish a very light, clear colored.
White, pearl type.
Sure. Yeah, and definitely in darker water, I'm going to fish darker colors.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that's the truth.
Yeah, I do too. I would agree with that. That's something. It seems like you want to do just the opposite of that, but it does go out. So if you are fishing those soft plastics, you know, fish the dark colors, those root beer colors, those kind of things, the new penny, even though, and that kind of deal. So, we're going to take our first break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk with Justin some more about what's working.
A new Carrier heating and air conditioner system from Mills Heating and Air can save you money every month. Thanks to energy-efficient technology that can help lower your utility bill. Buy a Carrier system now from Mills Heating and Air. Turn to the experts at Mills Heating and Air at 850-234-8177 or go to millshvac.com. That's 850-234-8177. For lower bills, call Mills.
Clay O'Neill's Land Clearing. When you need land clearing, pond digging, road building, or any type of excavation, Clay O'Neill's Land Clearing is fully equipped to handle it. If the job is big or small, he covers it all, serving the Florida Panhandle from Madison County to Escambia County. He's just a phone call away. Hey, thanks, Clay, for another job well done.
AMW Trailers, Austin Machine Work, trailer repair of all kinds. Folks, you always need to check your wiring. This is a great place to get it done, right here. Trailers of all sizes. Folks, check out this all aluminum trailer. That's what they specialize in over here at AMW. You get one of these, you won't need to get another one. Going down in a big, blue, beautiful building in downtown Millville. Get you one of those new aluminum trailers and get yours fixed right here at AMW Trailers.
Blue Water Outriggers, everything you need for outdoors. Whether you're fishing off the piers, surf fishing, or heading out into the Gulf, Blue Water Outriggers has what you need. Live bait, freshwater, saltwater tackle, rods and reels, clothing, marine supplies. Hottest brands, greatest prices, friendliest service. BWOfish.com. Shop online. Open 7 days a week, 30 miles east of Panama City. Blue Water Outriggers.
Welcome back, folks. Here again with Justin, and we were just talking about it. You know, number one recommendation right now. You know, you pick up some pilchards, you get some great artificials. You go find that clean water offshore. Mm-hmm. You know, Spanish every now and then, mackerel, you know, and amberjack.
Sure.
Okay. Now, you got the guy that's just dying to go red fishing. You know, regardless of conditions. Mm-hmm. Well, how do you approach it? What are you going to do with it?
Well, I mean, it can definitely be done. That's not a problem. Matter of fact, I've been doing some red fishing here recently. Mm-hmm. And two good options are going to be early morning and I would stick with soft plastics right now for two reasons. You can really control the speed of a soft plastic in your presentation, and it also is going to avoid a weedless rig soft plastic, like a Texas rig soft plastic.
Right.
Is going to be the most weedless bait you can fish. And certain things like a spoon and a topwater are probably two of my favorite lures to use. But there's situations where, like a topwater, you can slow it down only so much, and then it's not going to be an effective bait to work. And same thing with the spoon. You can only slow it down so much, and then you're just dragging it in the grass, and it's not going to work.
You get a topwater out there, you got maybe 5 or 6 feet if you're lucky.
That's right.
And
right
it's going to be covered with grass,
right.
and it's over with.
That's right. So unfortunately, that's just not really a good option right now. But there are still plenty of redfish in the bay. They will bite. With that soft plastic, I'd slow my presentation down, and and you can still get those fish to bite in a lot of the same places that we normally fish them. And another great option for the guy that works a 8 to 5 job and can't take off whenever he wants to go fish is to fish in the afternoons. We still have pretty long days right now.
That's right.
And during the summer, especially late summer like this, we get these afternoon thunderstorms. Well, I will say that I always keep my skiff sitting on go, and whether it's when I get home from a charter or something, if we get a good little rain in the afternoon, now there's nothing I love better than to jump out right behind that rain.
Yeah.
And a lot of times these redfish that are pretty lethargic and we're having to work to get to bite will be pretty willing to bite when that water temp drops down after these rains. A lot of times an afternoon rain can drop the water temp 3 or 4 or 5 degrees.
That's true.
And that makes a big difference.
That's true.
That
can turn them on.
That fish that's been sitting there in 88-degree water in the bay, all of a sudden it drops down a few degrees, and man, they're most likely they're going to turn on. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to be out there all day, but if somebody gets off work in the afternoon, comes home, the rain
yeah.
quits, hey, you can go get you 2 or 3 hours before it gets dark.
Absolutely, a man after my own heart. I mean, that's what I love about the summertime. It's hot, but you can knock off work, still get out there, get 2 or 3 good hours of fishing, and you got to avoid, like you said, behind the thunderstorm.
That's right. Wait till they pass.
Now I know that you, a lot of your soft plastics, you fish without any lead on them, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. And so, to do that, what kind of rod and line combination?
That is very important.
Yeah,
because if you take, and the type of brand or whatever of soft plastic doesn't really matter to me. I always call them flukes because I think Zoom was one of the first ones to come out with that.
That's true.
But everybody makes them now, and there's some great ones out there. But I rig it, Texas rig. I use a hook with the corkscrew on the front,
right,
and that stays in that bait real good.
And you got to have real patience though when you're using those. With those 3X baits, you're trying to get it on.
It is hard to get in there.
Gee, but once it's there,
you're right. It's there for good.
But man, you just keep going and going.
And the chauffeurs can peck on them with those 3X baits and all that, and it doesn't really mess with them.
That's true. I mean, those things will stretch as far.
But so once you get that rigged, the rod and the line are probably the two most important things. Mm-hmm. I fish longer rods. I fish 7.5 foot, or 7 foot, and that's it. I don't fish anything shorter than a 7 foot rod. And then I fish 10-pound braided line.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people don't like braid. They're stuck in their ways with mono. And a lot of people have tried braid, so at least they've tried it. But if you don't try it in the right way, you're not going to like it. People that fish 10-pound test mono their whole life in the bay, they go buy a 10-pound diameter braid, that's whatever 65-pound test.
That's right.
And they go, well, there's nothing to this stuff. It ain't that great. Well, if you fish the same pound test that you would normally fish. If you fish 10-pound braid, it's like 2-pound diameter.
Exactly.
And that's the only way you're going to be able to fish those lighter baits like a soft plastic that has no weight on it.
Yeah.
Is with ultra light braided line. Even 8-pound. I fish them 8 and 10-pound braid.
Sure.
And you get the wind to your back, which I would recommend all the time when you're red fishing. If you can. There's certainly situations where you can't. But if you have the option, I love to fish with the wind in my back. You take some 8 or 10-pound braid and put that soft plastic up in the wind when you're casting, and it'll go a long way.
You can throw it up, 100 miles.
Yeah, and it lands soft. You can control the presentation. You can barely inch it along or speed it up and work it right on the surface. It gives you a lot of good options.
You can pull that right up.
That's right. Yeah.
And I've said this before, and it's really important. You need to have your rod, your line, and your reel matched with the bait that you're throwing.
Definitely.
And I know that you, we talked at the landing, and you're using a lot of these Gary Loomis Temple Fork rods, right? Which I use.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of those, and they are. This is not an advertisement for Gary Loomis or Temple Fork, but those are reasonable rods.
That's right.
You take a G Loomis rod, you're looking at $350, $400 easy.
Yeah.
And some of these Temple Fork rods, you get around $100.
Matter of fact,
made by Gary Loomis.
Brad carries those out there at Sunjammer.
Yeah, he does. And that's it's $100, but you're really getting, in my opinion, a $350, $400 rod.
And it is, and the warranty. I mean, it is a real lifetime warranty.
It's true. And I started Temple Fork, but my brother-in-law got me to try their fly rods up in the mountains. Mm-hmm. And, I'm thinking, $150 fly rod up there with those delicate presentations.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not, not going to get it. But these are excellent rods. They handle well. And if you break it, you can shut it in a car door, which my brother-in-law did.
Yeah.
You send it back for $20, and they're going to send you the whole new rod again. Same thing. They're more like $40 if you break one of these.
The one-piece spinning rods are $40 to replace, and the fly rods are $20.
Yeah. But we kind of got off track there. But you're exactly right, though. You have to match your rod and your line, especially with what you're trying to throw. Because if you go out there with what your topwater rig and you start trying to throw what Justin's talking about with an unweighted plastic hook, it's just going to be frustrating, and you're going to have a lot of those wind knots.
Yeah. And if you can't make a long cast with it, it's just not going to work.
That's exactly right. Okay, guys, we're fixing to take a break. We're going to come back with some tips on what you can do right now.
When you think of a successful hunting season, two things come to mind: Browning and C&G Sporting Goods. Browning is the best there is, and C&G Sporting Goods is your factory direct, full-line Browning dealer. C&G stocks Browning guns, camo, knives, scopes, gun safes, bows, and much more, including hunting and fishing license. Look over the new Browning BAR camo short frame and X-Bolt rifles. Why pay good money for anything less than a Browning? Browning and C&G, the best there is. Home of the experts.
Think you can't afford a new Kubota tractor? Think again. Kubota offers a powerhouse of engineering, reliability, and value that can't be matched. Right now, during our 40-year strong celebration, get a feature-loaded two-wheel drive L3800F or M6040 Standard for 0 down and 0% APR for up to 60 months. Think again. Join the Kubota movement, 40 years strong.
See and save on all Kubota tractors and equipment at Sowell Tractor today.
A new Carrier heating and air conditioner system from Mills Heating and Air can save you money every month. Thanks to energy-efficient technology that can help lower your utility bill. Buy a Carrier system now from Mills Heating and Air. Turn to the experts at Mills Heating and Air at 850-234-8177 or go to millshvac.com. That's 850-234-8177. For lower bills, call Mills.
Sunrise to sunset. A walk through nature takes you on a journey of Florida's Emerald Coast. You'll encounter the wildlife, birds, lighthouses, indigenous to the beautiful land and seascapes of Florida. Set to the sounds of nature and enhanced with easy listening music. Only $14.95 plus $4.95 shipping and handling. NatureWalkDVD.com or send check or money order to the address on the screen. A walk through nature. Visually stunning.
Welcome back. We were just discussing, we've got some tips and some things you can do if you just can't fish. But number one that I wanted to remind everybody of, scallop season is still open over in St. Joe. And they have just extended this permanently. I don't know if you knew that or not. It's going to close September 24th. So this is now a permanent extension. You know, of course, you want to check it every year, but I just pulled it up this morning, and just not long ago they voted to do that. So, that water is a little bit cleaner than our water, and you can still find them. You kind of have to work for it. When you do, they're big, and the meat's big, and it's a great thing to do. And speaking of that, I want to give a little shout out to over on Cape Sandblast to the guys at Scallop Cove over there.
Oh yeah.
If you've got all the way out there, you're going fishing or something, and forgot something, they're great guys. They know the area, they're local, they'll help you out with some stuff. And I bought a lot of stuff from them when I'm out there. Found out something I didn't bring.
Yeah, but, that's right.
Anyway, hey to those guys. So here, when you can't fish, if you just can't go, this is a great time, and I don't always do this. I should, but here's some things that you need to look at. Clean and grease your reels.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody does it in the springtime if you're not the guy that fishes all winter like we do. Yeah. But it's a great time to do it with downtime. Check your line. That braid, and I fished the Power Pro, nothing but that stuff can get worn after a while. You need to cut it back. You can even take that off and reverse it.
That's right. Reel it from one reel to another reel.
That's exactly right.
And then all of a sudden, what used to be on the top that you've been using is now on the bottom.
And it's unused for the most part, unless something took you all the way to the back end on that. So that's a good tip right there to save you a lot of money. You want to check your rod wraps and your guides.
Yeah.
You look at those guides, they get a little bent, they get out of shape, it affects your distance. Like
sure,
what we
especially
were
with
about.
Braid, if you have one little chip in the ceramic on those guides, it'll cut right through it. And I'll tell you a good tip on a way to do that. You take a Q-tip, you can take a Q-tip and just run it through the insert in that guide, and if there's any little snag in there, it'll grab that cotton. And you'll see it.
Excellent idea. You got to get the file out or just replace it.
Yeah.
Another great tip. And check your hooks. Replace or sharpen your hooks. If those things aren't sharp, you're not going to get the good hook set up, and they don't last forever.
No.
I've seen guys go out there with hooks on topwater baits that look You couldn't, if you did cut yourself with them, you'd be in serious trouble.
You're right. You better go get a tetanus shot.
Yeah, you better.
But I tell you, that's something else too that I'm very particular about, and I keep all my plugs and stuff like that in O-ring sealed cases.
Yep.
You know, they're easy. They're not very expensive now. They're readily available at any tackle store. They'll have tackle boxes that have a big rubber O-ring.
Yep.
That are watertight.
That's what I'm keeping my gulp in.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
And then it'll keep it from getting all in your hatches in your boat, and that does not smell real good.
No, you don't take that home.
With plugs and stuff, I never, after we use them, I never take them and put them back in that box because they've been in salt water.
Now
so I'll leave them hanging out, and I'll clean the boat, you know, spray those off too, and then the next day when I get ready to go, they've been washed, dried, and then I put them back in the box.
That's right. That's excellent. Now, I think maybe last year or something we were talking about tips. You can go get a little Tupperware jug.
Yeah.
And I keep it on the boat with fresh water in it.
Sure.
And when I change out a topwater bait or anything like that, I just dunk it down in there. And if you've got that on board, and then you can put it up. Yeah. Or at least keep them separate.
Sure.
And wash them down. Don't throw them back in the bag. All right, well, those are all excellent ideas. Now, what about your boat?
Whew, man, boat maintenance, which is a nonstop part of my life.
Saltwater.
Yeah. Probably my number one thing would be when you get home and wash your boat off, wash your trailer off. Wash it off better than your boat. You know, fiberglass does not rust. And I've seen that so much, you know.
But leaf springs
Oh,
too.
yeah. You're exactly right. And, you know, so spend some time rinsing your trailer off, not every once in a while, every trip. Yeah. And I do the same. I get up under there, spray, you know.
Outside of the tire and the inside
right.
of the tire.
Yeah, especially, you know, bigger trailers that have brakes on them, you know, stuff like that. You really need to rinse them off good. And I tell you what, hubs on trailers actually last a long time if you keep greasing them. And I don't know how many times you see a boat and trailer sitting on the side of the road with the hub blown, you know, to a million pieces, and all it takes is a, you know, sticking a grease gun on there, give it a few pumps. That's it.
You put the bearing buddies on there.
Oh yeah.
And you pop it, because I'm of the theory that the guy you see sitting on the side of the road when that happens, it only happens once.
That's right.
Because that's one of the worst things that could ever happen.
You're right, and that's
you.
probably
You're stuck.
That's why we're good about you know, keeping our stuff in good shape. It's because we've made those mistakes. I've been stranded in every different scenario, and I learned from it.
Yeah, I had a bearing go out on me one time, and I had a set of leaf springs break.
Oh man,
that is not something that you want to have happen. And those are not rust proof. You know, they're steel. No. You got to keep an eye on those. You know, take a little time spend with your boat. You won't be on the side of the road so much. I think is the bottom line to this whole thing. But that's, you know, with bearing buddies, you pop it on there, you hit them a little bit, and those bearings will last for a very, very long time.
That's right.
Justin, I appreciate you coming in. I always enjoyed it. And guys, we're going to have to get out of here. Winston will be back tomorrow. But as always, you know, find somebody that you can do something good for to make your day better. Thanks, and have a great day.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.